everybody. How you doing? This is Interesting Points. I'm your host, Josh Boyer. I really do love that opening music. It makes me feel like some kind of 80s or 90s cable access show, and I love it. Anyways, this is Interesting Points, which just so you what you got to know about the show is it's a panel show. It's based off British panel shows that I fell in love with back in the early mid 2011, 2013, and it's basically about it. So what I'm going to do is basically we're going to sit here. We're going to talk to a couple people, have some fun, and just to find out what makes them interesting. All right. So first off, we're going to bring in our guests here. First up, we've got. Let's see, who is it?
Hey,
We got, Kevin Paquette. How you doing, Kevin? I
all right.
can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Oh my God, here. Great. I'm doing
going,
all
Kevin?
right. All right.
Good. I'm actually. Next up, we got Pam. Pam Ross.
Hi.
How you doing, Pam? How's
I'm
it going?
great. Thanks. It's going great.
Well,
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to do the virtual version after having done the IRL version.
Yeah, this is the home game version of it. Next up, we got Brian Rock. Brian, how you doing, Brian?
Doing well. How are you doing tonight, guys? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And finally, we've got Heather Kelly. Heather is actually a special guest today. Heather is actually the head of the nonprofit, the Writers Loft, which actually helps out writers to have a sense of community. Really good stuff. My wife's actually a member as well. Heather, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm coming in strong with my jazz hands.
Great. That's awesome. So that's my wife down there. My wife posting Heather. So
Wait, I missed that. What was
we're going to
it?
start off with the banter. I'm a little out of. My wife posted Heather on the chat. Alicia. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the banter. And what the banter is kind of get the conversation going a little bit and kind of get everything kind of flowing a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I picked a topic kind of at random, but kind of not. I picked sleep because I haven't gotten any in a while. So I figured I'd like to learn how other people get sleep and what other people's thoughts on sleep is, because frankly, it eludes me and I hate it. So Kevin, what does sleep mean to you?
I love it. I cherish every bit of sleep I can get. I wake up every morning at like 5 or 6 to go to
You
work.
guys hear me at all?
Yes, I can hear you. But yeah, I get all the sleep I can get. Really, I don't know. I can't really sleep for that long. I wish I could. I come home and I sleep if I can, but then I have to be up and do something else. So like, I feel like I never have enough of it. So
Okay.
I'm always
Just
on
a little-
high alert. Yeah, sleep is great. Pro sleep. Without it, it'd probably hurt somebody. I don't want to hurt people, but that's what happens.
Oh no, I had multiple mustache. I had a mustache.
It seems that Josh
I
might
wish,
be having some
wish that
sound
was me.
issues.
I wish I
Josh,
could sleep
Josh,
and
are you
actually
having some?
have a job to go to. That's just my sad life.
Got.
Josh, are you able to hear everybody else?
Yeah.
I do not think that he can. So I'm going to pop him out of the stream here real quick. That's Kevin's thoughts on sleep. Hi, everybody. I'm Matt. I'm the producer of the show. The internet is a wonderful thing, and we're swimming in it. So, it's still live shows. So we do what we can. So, Pamela, what is it that you think of when you think of sleep? And I'm going to work on getting Josh back in.
Okay, so I actually have a very fraught relationship to sleep. It's something that I value and I obviously need as much as the next person, but I have a lot of trouble getting it. I don't go to sleep so much as I eventually pass out where I am in my apartment. And then I usually like wake up with a start. And I have a few different sleep aids that I use. So one of them right here is melatonin, 5 milligrams.
Mm.
Mhm.
It's the good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Something cool about CVS, you can just steal from there. No one will really do anything about it. I also have a little naughty in blood work that I use to go to sleep and to wake up and to eat and to relax. It's pot, okay?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Mhm.
This is this legal for me to have here? I don't know.
Yes.
What
Yes, it
Sure
is.
is.
What state are you in, Pamela, right now?
I'm in New York City. I'm in New York.
Is
Oh.
it
Oh,
legal in New York?
I don't know.
It is not. As a New Yorker, as a fellow New Yorker, I can tell you
Okay.
that it is not legal. But as a fellow New Yorker, I can also tell you that has not stopped me. Like,
No.
Yeah.
come on.
No.
Why would it stop anyone?
Oh, yeah.
Not I'm so I'm using this to, and this is actually, so this is a 70% indica. So
Oh,
that
nice.
if you're a hybrid, it's gonna put you to sleep. It's supposed to be very relaxing. So I use these things to basically fall asleep, usually in front of streaming television. I do everything you're not supposed to. I don't have a sleep time. I have very poor sleep hygiene. It's never like the same routine twice. I'm always eating and doing drugs in order to make myself eventually fall asleep. So it's, you know what? It's complicated, but I love it, and I get so much of it. The best.
You might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to bring Josh back in. We're going to try this again. Josh, hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and you're responding to me in time. So that makes me think that you're back with us.
I'm back with you. I'm semi back with you. I'm still having the robot voice every so often, but I think this is better than the last thing that I had, which was delayed by about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'll take a semi over nothing. That's fine. Let's see. We're talking about legal versus illegal marijuana with helping us sleep. Or maybe we weren't talking about that, but that's what I wanted to talk about.
I go away for 2 minutes and we immediately go to drugs. I love it.
I mean, when you leave me in charge, Josh, what do you want from me? Yes, I am a triple threat: tech, substitute host, and dog owner. So
Thanks, Matt.
I'm going to turn the show back over to Josh.
All right, thanks, Matt.
So Josh,
All right,
we
so
heard
we're-
Pam told us about her sleep habits, and I can go next if you want. I live in Massachusetts, so those are all legal for me, Pam. So I'm very excited. That is how I would get to sleep if I wanted to sleep. But I feel like, during a pandemic, you're doing it wrong if you are sleeping at night. Like, not only do I not sleep, but I mean, I am fully clothed because I am sure that like Armageddon is, coming tomorrow, and I want to be ready for it. Like I'm going to be hopping out of the bed. I'm going to be ahead of you guys because I'm going to be fully dressed, not sleeping, out the door with my family. We're going to be good. Whatever comes next, zombies, whatever apocalyptic thing is on the horizon. So yeah, I'm not sleeping during this pandemic. So I might be getting high sometimes, but I'm not sleeping. That's where I draw the line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Alicia actually has me wake her up. My wife actually has me wake her up every morning at 3:00 so she can do some writing. And I fail miserably at it every single morning because I actually start to fall asleep around 3, and I'm like, I don't want to get up and get her. She's watching, so I just revealed that to her as well.
Yeah, you just came
Great.
clean.
You're like, not only am I not sleeping, but I'm a bad husband as well.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
about to not sleep on the couch.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much where I sleep because I snore. So, hey, Brian, what does sleep mean to you, buddy?
So we none of us are getting sleep.
Mhm.
Know, the world
Kevin is.
stinks. But well, Kevin is because he has work at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, the power of
What are we
tourism.
doing when we're not sleeping? Well, I spent my summer watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that was a great
Ooh.
show to watch. I didn't watch it as
Yeah.
a kid. I wasn't into the seriousness. It looked too serious as a kid. I was trying to watch SpongeBob as a kid. Wasn't into it. But I watched it now as an adult, and it was a masterpiece. But then
It
it was time
is.
to watch Legend of Korra, and I was told it's not as good. There's too many plot consistencies. This, that. I watched all 4 seasons, let me tell you. People are sleeping on The Legend of Korra. It's not the masterpiece that Avatar The Last Airbender is.
Mm-mm.
That was a damn good show.
Mhm.
Damn good show.
I've seen neither of
So
those
that's what
shows.
sleep means to me. Well, you have Netflix, Kevin.
I like
Time
the
to watch
animated
Avatar The Last Airbender.
too much to, ever watch the cartoon.
I love the M. Night
bend
Shyamalan
Wait, did
movie.
Kevin say he was above watching Avatar: The Last Airbender? Really?
No, I didn't, but I will. I am above
Okay.
watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What?
So I'm sure it's very good. I don't know. I think I just don't deal well with most cartoons for some reason. I'm like, I need real life. I need to feel this. I can't do this while that
Avatar
person
is real life.
in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Ryan. Sure.
Well, actually, no. Legend of Korra was more like real life because they were dealing with actual topical issues that relate to today, and they incorporated modern technology into the Avatar universe and incorporated bending into the technology. So people need to stop sleeping on Legend of Korra. I'm not sponsored by Nickelodeon.
All right, we'll stop sleeping on The Legend of Korra just for you.
Thank you.
So that was the banter. Half of it was without me, so probably a better show all together. So next up is Prove It to Me, which is kind of the expert topic round, where everybody's an expert in a specific topic or likes to think that they are. Basically, just kind of prove it to me, or prove it to the world that you are an expert. So I'm going to start with Pamela.
Mm-hmm.
Pam, what are you an expert in?
Okay, so this pandemic has caused me to face an issue in my life, which is that I have no hobbies. And so I'm an expert on just different pop culture things I can consume. And I am definitely an expert on 30 Rock because I can't go a day without referencing it. Like, it's part of the language I speak. And it's something that if you haven't seen it, you are going to think that I'm unhinged because I use so many references in it to make points to people in my life and to communicate. And I'm deeply obsessed with it. Can I just gossip about Tina Fey? Is that all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I know a little bit about behind the scenes things that happened, at least in the 30 Rock building. Things that happened at SNL that kind of like inspired parts of the show because it's obviously based on Tina Fey's time as like a co-head writer there. Because my friend Jamie, who's like older than me, I say that like I'm not also an adult. I'm 29. I'm like my big friend Jamie. So he was working at 30 Rock and like the building. He was working for Brian Williams. And one day he ran into Tina Fey in the elevator and he made her laugh. And she told him that he was funny. Then later in the day when he was leaving, he ran into her again, which was totally serendipitous. And she was like, "What are you doing right now?" And he was like, "I don't know, like nothing." And she was like, "Do you want to go get cupcakes with me?" And he went and just got cupcakes with Tina Fey. It was amazing. So I feel like IRL, Liz Lemon being with food and constantly like eating food at work was something that she actually did. And befriending strangers and immediately offering to do baked goods with them was also something she was into. But yeah, I'm just obsessed with it. It's kind of I feel like a boring thing for comedians to discuss, because you probably already know all about it, but that's my thing.
It's not boring at all. I don't think so. I mean, I've kind of caught myself binging everything.
I rewatch the most, I think.
Yeah.
I've never seen all of 30 Rock either, like just in spurts. So
It's good. It's fun.
tell me on
30
30 Rock.
Yeah. It's I'm trying to think of where you could stream it now.
Netflix maybe, or
Isn't it on Peacock? Isn't it all going to
Oh
Peacock?
yeah.
You're right. It's
It
on
is.
obviously it's on NBC's streaming service.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm not sponsored by Nickelodeon, but I'm sponsored by NBC.
Nice.
So, Heather, what are you an expert in?
Oh, wow. So I am an expert in this one particular game called Rubik's Race. And it's like if you took the Rubik's Cube and flattened it out and you make the puzzle pieces and that sort of thing. And I'm so good at it that at Dave & Buster's, I got a Switch from the prizes. Like that's how many, and I would take my kids to Dave & Buster's, but I racked up so many prize points there that I got a Nintendo Switch. So I think I'm an expert in that.
That's awesome.
Wow. Oh my God.
That's the kind of thing that I always wish would happen to me as a kid. Like, even as an adult. I mean, geez, you always see that big prize there, and you always think it's completely unattainable. But
yeah, they were like, "This is the first one we've given out." I'm like, "What else do you have?" I'm coming back next week for the iPad Pro.
Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
good stuff. So if I was like on Survivor at one of those like puzzle games, like I'd be all set. But really, it has no value whatsoever in the real world. So.
Wow,
yeah.
That's crazy to me. Just because my mind is absolutely blown that they actually give those away.
just one to me, just one.
The only person ever.
I'm the only person in Natick. I'm like the legend in Natick. Like I'm the one person who got the Switch in Dave & Buster's. So and thankfully, like I am just waiting for this pandemic to be over so I can like go back and win something else. So.
And now you're on a list with Dave & Buster's. Like, don't let her in.
I am like it's like card counting or something. They're like, no. She might say she's with her kids, but she is here playing games by herself.
Well, it's like I worked
like Half
with
Price Wednesday. I am all over that. Yeah.
I worked with someone who was actually relatively famous in the gambling community. He was actually the person that was played by Kevin Spacey in 21.
Wow.
So he was the head of the MIT blackjack team, and he was actually blacklisted and banned from every casino in the world. They were actually able to tag him in London, get it going in the door, and they turned him away, which was pretty insane. So you're gonna be like that at Dave & Buster's soon. That's
right. Although I mean, their technology is not quite at the stage where they can catch me going in. So.
So, Kevin, what are you an expert in?
Well, over the last few weeks, I've been rewatching Boy Meets World for like the 300th time. Mm-hmm. I used to watch it all the time when it was on like 34B on the black box, and then it went to ABC Family, TGIF, all that sort of stuff. But lately, I've noticed how like dark the show is, and so I think I'm an expert on the seedy underbelly of the Boy Meets World universe at this point. Like. Actors are constantly changing out of nowhere and stuff like that. Morgan does it twice, and there's this huge gap in between. She comes back, and she claims to be on timeout. But when she comes back, she's a whole different person. It's nuts. No one knows what happened to the other girl. That's not it either. And Harley Kiner, the big bully, he goes away. He comes back. Some weirdo, not even like from the 50s anymore. And no one ever talks about it. Like, reform school. They changed with like some One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest stuff. But even crazier than that, like there's a place that people apparently go off screen that you learn of in like the finale when Minkus comes back. They're like, where have you been? Like over there with Mr. Turner, who was like gravely injured. And they never talk about how Sean found a family. They're just like, oh, he has a brother now. So like something's going on over there in the land of brotherhood. I'm pretty sure. And then if you think about like the extended universe, Mr. Matthews was in American History X. Where'd he find the time to be a neo-Nazi? In a place like that. And it's nuts. So people are like, and also today I was watching an episode. Apparently Janitor Blood has seen dead bodies in the high school. And people just don't think about it, just casually turn it out. So think about that next time you're watching.
It's like Peppa Pig has a really dark little thing in it with where the of all places Peppa Pig has the teacher is actually a vampire.
Oh my God.
Really?
They never mention it, but on one of the Halloween episodes, she has no reflection.
Oh my gosh.
That's dangerous
There
for
are actually
kids.
a lot of like relates to Peppa Pig
Peppa has style, man.
because
And my favorite Peppa Pig's channel, there's a YouTube channel of Peppa Pig where they actually cut off the endings. So it becomes this really, really kind of really crazy, like depressing ending. Like there was one where Santa Claus has her presents, forgets to give her presents.
Oh my
And
God.
the end of the episode is Santa Claus just flying off with her presents being, did I forget something? As opposed to
Oh,
the real
man.
episode where he comes back and gives it to her. So it's like this weird existential nightmare that's Peppa Pig. It's fantastic.
Yeah, man. Show's always doing that.
Like there's one where her parents were her dad and his friends get stuck on an island and they never get off. Because it just ends with them stuck on the island. So
Yeah.
Brian, what's your expert topic?
It's actually funny. Heather actually kind of brought up my expert topic for today. I fancy myself a bit of an expert in the greatest reality television show ever, Survivor. All 40 seasons, watched
Nice.
over and over, to the point that I
Right.
actually drifted over to International Survivor this year, watching some
There's
Survivor
International
UK,
Survivor?
watching some Survivor Thailand. No, I didn't watch Taiwanese Survivor yet.
Wow.
I watched New Zealand Survivor, and it was the most polite, like wonderful thing at first. But then people just started getting really mean with each other. It's like, oh, we're the 5 that's cool, and you're the 3 that's like on the outs. So we're just gonna treat you like absolute crap. And it was really interesting to watch because like Americans are a little like more passive aggressive about it. They'll at least like lie to you before they like send you out. And in one of the seasons, this old lady was one of the people on the outs. They were treating the old people like crap. But then like 10 episodes in, she's still there just running things. And everyone's just groveling to her. And she's just on vacation all of a sudden, not having to hunt for food, not
Vacation.
having to do anything. And then on the finale, they totally flip on her and just like say that she's like a witch and the worst person ever. Yeah, these New Zealand people are crazy. And here in
Wow.
America, we're nowhere near a new season because the Fiji people don't want Americans anywhere near them. Like they don't want our COVID. And anyways, who's gonna watch a show about surviving when literally that's the theme of like
2020.
everything we've been doing this year? Like
Yeah.
we're gonna throw on the TV and watch some people on a deserted island. When you can throw on CNN and watch people get evicted. It's the same thing.
Same thing. I like to throw on Naked and Afraid and just mock them from my bed. I'm like, I'm in a blanket. I've got my chips. Like, why would you do that when you can be here in my bed?
In the
nice
warmth.
warm? Yeah.
Do they have on Survivor New Zealand? Do they have the Maori? Do you have any Maoris on it?
They have any
So I always
what?
loved the Maoris, the Maori culture. I always loved.
Oh,
I watched MasterChef New Zealand, and it was just a bunch of Maori chefs, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
just
they
seeing
had
them
one
kinda
guy.
do-
I'm forgetting his name. He was definitely like, yes, he was definitely Maori, and he was like, he won not America's favorite player. I'm the worst. He won New Zealand's favorite player. The fan vote that the fans did because everyone was like, yeah, this guy is freaking amazing. His whole game plan was, I'm just gonna be nice to everyone. Like how can you vote? How can you not vote for me at the end type of thing? I think he was just being himself. But then eventually people were like, yeah, this guy has got to go. And it was a very sad episode. I honestly like thought about skipping it because I was like, this is gonna make me very sad. And it did.
And Brian, where can we watch these episodes? Where are you?
I watched it totally illegal. It was like on Daily
Okay.
Motion, just like Google Survivor New Zealand. And the episodes are like chopped into part 1 and part 2, but they're there.
All
Maybe
right.
they're mirrored and you're watching them backwards, but
Okay.
you're watching.
Nice.
Nice. All right, so that's everybody's expert topic. I think they proved it to me. They proved it to everybody that they're experts in them. And next up is, guilty pleasures. Let's talk about guilty pleasures. Some people aren't really guilty about them. I know that because every time I bring up guilty pleasures, at least one person says, I'm not guilty about it, and that's fine. I'm really looking for something that people might not expect that you would like, basically. Something that no one would expect that you would enjoy. essentially is what I'm looking for. I'm going to start with Brian.
I have started a new collection this year, which probably started when the plant stores all closed, when we weren't allowed to go anywhere. But I have amassed probably like a 15 vinyl collection this year. And the reason I think it's a guilty pleasure is because I have nothing to play them on. Not a thing to play them on. But I will one day.
You just spin them on your fingers.
Not today. Yeah, just like spinning like the Harlem Globetrotter.
Oh, this sounds great.
And I just albums go on sale. Oh, is it on vinyl? Oh, I'll buy it. I've purchased so many albums. I actually have My Chemical Romance's Black Parade coming. They did a reissue, and it was supposed to actually come at the beginning of August, and then COVID delays everything, so I'm not getting it until the end of. Actually, I think I'm getting it in 2 weeks. So had to throw on some eyeliner over that. But yeah, I have this vinyl collection, which is pretty inexcusable because it's just silence. I'm still just using my Spotify. But the collection grows. I told myself that when I got to 5, I would buy the vinyl player. And then I said 10. And now it's 15. So now I've just realized that I'm
what
just
is
gonna keep
stopping
on
you
buying
from buying? I'm gonna send you a
nothing. There's nothing. They're not even that expensive. It's not even a crazy purchase. But I just keep on I was gonna stack the collection, but you don't stack vinyl. You vertical. So I'm adding to the collection, but there's just nothing to play them on.
You just want to be the dude who doesn't have a record player. You just want to be that dude. You're I've got all
eventually,
the stuff.
one day I will, and it's gonna be a great day, and I'm gonna play some music on it. I look forward to maybe playing some My Chemical Romance. But until that day,
and you'll still have nothing to play them on. Just.
I miss vinyl. I miss the scratch. I miss the scratch. I want all my old records on vinyl. I do not miss 8-track, but I miss vinyl. So there you go.
Yeah.
I think I'm dating myself just a little bit too much.
Hey, Pam, what is your guilty pleasure?
It is a specific song. It is The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. It is, it is the worst song that I unironically enjoy. It is oh God, people call it a dance hall infused pop song.
Wow.
It's dance hall infused.
Oh, he just presses that button on his pedal. Painful.
It's hard to even come up with a metaphor that's scathing enough, but it's dance hall infused in the way that Rachel Dolezal is black. Do you understand?
Wow.
It is the most Caucasian possible. This is not his not white. He's British. Okay, they invented being white.
He's super white.
They do it well over there.
They invented it. They originated it, and God bless. This song it's so bad. The craziest thing though is that it's sort of semi-plagiarized. If you've listened his song, he took part of No Scrubs and made it worse. And
it can't get better than No Scrubs, so definitely.
Thank you. That's a classic R&B pop song that you of course remember is by TLC. So he actually had to credit. They interpolated part of No Scrubs in his song, so he had to eventually credit the 3 songwriters: Candy Burris, who's on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Tamika Cottle, who is Tiny of T.I. and Tiny, and Shakespeare. So who's this
William
Shakespeare? So it's not even fully his song. He can't even take credit for how tedious it is. It also is. Listen,
did you say that he credited Shakespeare?
Shakespeare is the stylized. It's the name of one of the songwriters.
Okay, all right. I was like, I don't know.
Just a picture of a guy shaking a spear. Like
It would be amazing if he credited the bard.
Yeah, wouldn't everybody have to credit Shakespeare at some point?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to write things. I'm going to say by Kevin Paquette and Shakespeare.
You know that fun. I mean, he's influenced all of us, really.
Right.
Definitely.
You can say
Ed
that.
And
Sheeran?
then the last Airbender, everything. Everything from that.
Shakespeare. The last
Oh, not Ed Sheeran. Okay.
Yeah, it's so bad, and I love it. Every time I hear it, I'm like, this is terrible. Turn it up. I need to hear it. I love it. And of course, in the song, do you know what I do like is it explains a very mundane narrative to music. It's literally just about going out so you can fuck someone, fucking them, and then a week later being like, should we go on a date? Like, that's the whole thing. He managed to encapsulate the mundanity, the tediousness, the cynical nature of modern romance in this 3.5 minute, I'm going to say it again, dance hall influence. And that's my guilty pleasure. I think I was supposed to defend it, and baby, I did not.
You have me convinced.
I feel for you because, like, I'm about to get canceled for this comment. Like, I don't listen to the song anymore. But yo, the entire time you've been talking about this, in the back of my head, I've heard Pharrell saying, "Everybody get up," because Blurred Line slaps. Blurred Line slaps.
Yes, though.
I have a soft spot for Blurred Lines. Yeah.
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 And that song is garbage.
Catchy.
It
Like,
is.
You have to
That's
No.
bathe yourself in acid when you listen to that song.
Yeah.
But my God, the song goes in.
But again,
Yeah.
they sampled a Marvin Gaye song.
Yeah, it's like the same story. Like, it's the same
Yeah.
story. Except Ed Sheeran didn't have to divorce his wife and then make an album named after his wife,
Right.
who then just ignored him, because that was a very sad 2012.
That was oh my God. Remember when Robin Thicke.
He's doing a lot better on The Masked Singer.
Oh man, The Masked Singer is so good.
I'm not sponsored by Fox.
So,
Team Distance
Kevin,
Party
what's your
here.
guilty pleasure?
Oh, my guilty pleasure is the Alfonso Cuarón classic, A Little Princess. Yeah. It was the first movie to ever make me cry, and I was on vacation in like a trailer in Maine, because that's what you do when you're from Charlestown. You go to a trailer for vacation. And, so we're sitting there watching Little Princess, and it's just like such a good story. This girl's father goes off to war, and then she has to be a servant, and this person beats her, and she has to live in the attic, and they just make you feel so much. And then, it's, I don't know, it's just very well pitched, and the music in that movie is delightful. And and then you get to that ending where she's just like stuck, and the cops are there, and she's just like, "Oh, this child has no father." And then her father appears. He's like, "I'm sorry, I don't remember you." And you're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is gonna happen." And then something happens. The mystical Indian man looks at him very hard in the eyes. And then he starts to remember, and music just starts to play, and she's being dragged into this police truck, basically. And then at the end, he just comes out, music swelling, and he's just like, "Sarah!" And it gets me literally every time. It's so good. And then the guy who plays her dad is Davos Seaworth, which I recently found out. And it's just, it's so good. I don't really like movies all that much, but this was a good one. For sure.
Cool. I'll definitely have to check it out.
It's good.
Movie always gets me? The Iron Giant.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Every single time. I can't even think of that scene without crying. And I will definitely have to check out that film. Heather, you're up.
Yeah, I have so many guilty pleasures. Let's see. What should I go with? Well, so I was teaching Sunday school this last Sunday, and the kids who came up, and we're all socially distanced outside, 6 feet apart, wearing masks, right? And the kids come up to me and they're like, Heather, they're not dragons, but they're dinosaurs. And they show me these little dinosaurs that they got from their McDonald's Happy Meal. And so dragons are my guilty pleasure. But evidently anything adjacent to dragons, like dinosaurs, are my guilty pleasure as well. So, of course, yesterday I was like, well, who can I go through the drive-thru at McDonald's for? Like, I need a couple Happy Meals so that I can get those little like eggs with the dinosaurs inside. And so I got a couple Happy Meals. I didn't want the food. I just wanted the dinosaurs, the faux dragons. We're gonna call them faux dragons. But as you can see, like, I'm big on medieval, you know, like I like my house is castle chic, you know, which my brother-in-law, who's he's a designer, he's like, I don't know about this castle chic. And I'm like, well, let me tell you, because I just made it up. You know, like, it is metal and it is, you know, like, you know, armor and all kinds of, you know, very cool castle-y things. So we're coming into my like favorite time, which is Halloween, and I can go crazy and pretend like the rest of the year I don't feel this way all the time. You know, like I want dragons and armor and gargoyles and all kinds of things all the time. So that's my guilty pleasure.
Cool. All right, so that was guilty pleasures. Everybody's got one. Everybody kind of defended it. I wasn't really looking for people to defend it. I used to have people defend their guilty pleasure, and now I'm just having people explain it because I think that it's much more interesting that way. So we're going to come up to our last segment of the show, and I like to call this "One of Us is the Killer." So basically, it's 3 truths and a lie. I've assigned a random person, one of these people, the fact they're going to tell you a story that's a lie but sounds like it could be true, and the other ones are going to tell you truths that sound like they could be lies. And it's up to you guys to vote in the chat to figure out who you think is the liar, and also kind of everybody in the panel today as well. I don't know why I did this, but I did this anyways. Everybody, everybody in the panel will kind of get a chance to try to figure out for themselves as well. So I'm going to start with Pam.
Yeah. Okay. So my little anecdote is that when I was still living in Boston, one night at the Harvard Lampoon, I smoked weed, if you can believe it, with Colin Jost and Scarlett Johansson. Name drops.
Is there more to the story?
Should I elaborate? Oh, okay.
So I've frozen.
No. So my friend Mike was opening for Colin at the Wilbur. Colin was part of the Lampoon. Also, it's like about to be Halloween. So they're having like a Halloween party at the Lampoon. Mike was like, come hang out with me and Colin Jost. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, he works at SNL. He's worked at SNL for years. Like, that's very like A-list in the comedy world, right? And I get there and I see a really pretty lady with him, and she has short blonde hair, but it's also, again, it's supposed to be a costume party. I just showed up as myself. And my costume was, I guess, social interloper. And then she had like Day of the Dead, this beautiful black and white makeup. And I was like, I definitely recognize that girl though. I've seen her before. And then Mike's girlfriend was very casually like, oh, blah, 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 Scarlett. And I was like, what? That's okay. And I did have so we smoked a little bit of pot, and that's a communal social thing that's fun. I felt really bad because it was like out of this old dirty pipe that I had. So I made Scarlett Johansson coke, but I immediately became her assistant. I had a golden spring bottle that I just gave her. that she obviously accepted without any kind of question, because she's probably used to that. And yeah, it was awesome. And then
Cool.
I told there's a long story about it, but I told it at some dispensary in Cambridge, and they filmed all of it, this storytelling show, for like what they said was going to be digital content. I never saw any of it. So somewhere that story exists to be unearthed and to ruin my chances at holding public office. But yeah, that's the story.
Cool.
Pam might not be president. That's what I took from that. Pam's never going to be president.
And what a shame.
So sad.
So, Kevin, what's your story?
So when I was in my second senior year of high school, because I left high school and then went back because I was like, why not get a diploma? That could be useful. My principal at the time comes up to me one day. He's like, hey, you look like you like Pink Floyd. I was like, okay. So I walk over there and he's just, he's like, do you want to sing for Roger Waters while he's in town for the Wall Tour in 2011, I think it was? No, 2011. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm like, yeah, sure. So it was like 3 nights and it was at the Garden. And so we get there and it's crazy. It's Roger Waters there. He's pretty nice to us. They're paying us like $150 and in pizza for all the 3 nights. So that was pretty cool. But he's a real dick to like all the tech people, which I guess you have to be if you're a rock star and it's a big show, but like kind of a dick. But like I digress. They weren't trying to let us stay in for the show, so every night they would have us make our entrance, sing our song, and then file us at like the back. And so I'm like, no, I can't deal with this. So the last night I went around to the front of the TD Bank North Garden. I was like, I have this bracelet. They're like, yeah, sure, teenager, you can go in there. I'm like, oh, thanks. So I just get like loose through the whole garden. I'm just like walking around and like all these old adult people are just there smoking weed inside the building and just being like, hey, do you have any of this? I'm like, no, not right now. Because I didn't think they would let me bring it in. So stupid. And so I'm just going around and like once in a while security people will like come around and it won't be too bad. But it was like the greatest concert I've ever seen in my life. And I also ran into like somebody I knew for no reason. This kid, Connor Prickett, if he's watching, I just ran into him like somewhere and I just chilled with him and his family for a little bit. And yeah, it was amazing. It was awesome. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Brian, what's your story?
Well, today I bought a new laptop, and that's exciting because I didn't really pay for I paid for the laptop myself, but like who funded the laptop? A celebrity chef. How did a celebrity chef fund this laptop? Well, I used to work for them, and they were a trash barrel to work with. And after I quit, I got a letter from some law firm saying that they were being sued for withholding tips. And I got the settlement money, and I have a new MacBook coming on the way in about 4 to 7 business days.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can't really, I don't know
Nice.
if I'm allowed to say, even though I've already deposited the check on like who it is or whatever, but I'll just say they became famous for a little gesture like this.
Yes. Wow.
They're opening a
Yeah.
restaurant too.
All right. So, any more to that story, Brian?
Oh no, that's the story. I guess I could digress on why this place was not fun to work at. If you'd like to hear about like working 15 hours, actually no, I won't tell a long story. I'll just tell a short story. So the person, that celebrity chef or like the meme chef came from Turkey, and the first store in America, not really hip to the American labor laws or the fact that most New Yorkers that are waiters are also like actors, comedians, musicians, dancers, blah blah blah. Like, we didn't move to New York to wait tables. So the guy who's going to be the GM of this restaurant, he says the day before we open, we're having a full staff meeting, and he says, "I have no wife. I have no kids. This restaurant is my wife. This restaurant is my kids. I want you to feel that way too." And I knew I wasn't going to last long once he said that. And we were both right, because I was out of the door like 2 weeks later. But now I'm in a MacBook like 3 years later. So that's my story.
So Heather, what's your story?
Oh, so my story, let's see. So my junior year in college, I went abroad to Spain, and I went to San Sebastian, and they have this small film festival there, the San Sebastian Film Festival. And me and my American friends went to go see Spank the Monkey, which was the American film in the film festival. And not only did we get to see this glorious film, but one of the stars in the film, Jeremy Davies, was there. And so after the film, there was a question and answers and everything. And, we walked up and we hung out with him because he was American, we were American. So we walk outside of the theater and, out into this street. And there is a Basque separatist riot happening with like Basque separatists, like with big machine guns and everything. And the civil guard with these big plastic barriers in front of them. And then like us, like Americans with Jeremy Davies, the film star, like standing in between, this group of conflicting people. And so we hightailed it down there and got a drink and some tapas, at the bar down the street. So, and he went on to be in, let's see, he was in Lucifer and he was in Saving Private Ryan. And I know that dude. So, it's cool.
Cool. And Spank the Monkey was directed by David O. Russell, who went on to direct Three Kings and a couple other movies. Very, very good director. Spank the Monkey was. Anyways, that's me digressing with some interesting points there. Hey, it's the name of the show.
Oh, he said it.
Catchphrase.
Full circle.
So that's
More
the
like
who's
circle.
the liar? Who's the liar? Is it Kevin? Is it Pam? Is it Brian? Is it Heather? I know who it is. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm going to let the chat kind of weigh in a little bit if anybody's in the chat. I'm going to ask you guys too. Who here thinks it's Kevin? Who thinks it's Pam?
Oh, I don't know.
Thinks it's Brian? Who thinks it's Heather? Let's give the chat another couple of seconds here. Will the liar please raise your hands?
It's me.
Yep, Brian was the liar.
Woo! What do I get? What do I get?
Sense of satisfaction.
Oh, come on. Record player. I need like a vinyl player. And then I'll send it to Brian. How's that?
Yeah, that works. Why don't you just win it at Dave and Buster's?
If I could respond to one of the comments, there is some truth to the statement. He did just open a restaurant in Boston, which is surprising because Boston doesn't really do, gimmicky restaurants unless Cheers. But in New York, he opened a restaurant in 30 Rock, and I was one of the opening staff. And I did not buy a laptop with my settlement money because I didn't get laptop money with it. It was like a cute little check, but I wish I got MacBook money.
See, those are the best. Those are the best lies. The ones that have a lot of truth in them. Like
yeah, a little bit. I can put down like a little
Yeah.
pre-order for the PS4, PS5, maybe. I mean, a PS4 is probably free now.
My favorite one was I think it was probably Britt Mitchell when she said she had this whole story about Britt or MLav who had this whole story about how they were attacked by an elk or something like that, and it was actually a bear. So they just changed the animal. It was a true story, but they changed the animal. It's like, okay, works for me. Anyways, that's been our show. Thank you to our guests. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Brian. Thank you to our fans as well. Thank you to Ben and Matt. Please follow us at 2MB Studios. Give a like, give a follow on Twitch. You can do that with your Amazon Prime account. I've done it myself. So please do that as well. Stick around for Jog My Memory, hosted by Ken Breeze, featuring Ben Scaria, who I just mentioned just a second ago, one of the 2MB people. And just enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you for sticking with me through all the technical difficulties, and appreciate you all. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thanks.